In this video, I want to show you how to solder wires in different situations depending on the diameter of the wire and what sort of lug or fitting you might be soldering to it. But soldering is a great way to connect wires. If it's done properly, you can forget about ever losing the connection. It's a great way to do things, and it's really not that difficult. So come on and let me show you. Here in this part of the lesson, I'm going to show you how to solder some relatively small wires. These are 12 gauge. And I'm going to use this soldering iron. I bought this in 1975 when I was 12, and I still have it. It works perfectly. This is a great testimony to the idea of buying good stuff. It lasts forever. It's the cheapest in the long run. There's more junky tools to buy on the market than ever before, but there's also more great ones too. So expect to pay some good money and you'll get good tools that'll last you a while. But when it comes to soldering, the first thing you want to do is to make the connection mechanically solid. So in this case, that means twisting. This is just a little sample I'm doing here. You want to make it so that those wires are together before the solder even flows. Now in this case, this is a pretty long connection too, probably longer than I need. I would have to protect this in some way with some heat shrink tubing or something else to maintain or to reestablish the insulation on these conductors. And sometimes that way of reestablishing the insulation doesn't work too well with a really long conductor. So I'll just cut that off there. And now we're ready to solder. So I'm going to put this in the vise over here just so you can see it. You don't often solder wire while they're in a vise, but this is just to show you. And I'm going to use that soldering iron. I'm also going to use some solder. Of course, solder is typically a mixture of lead and tin. For water pipe use, soldering water pipes, you can get lead-free solder, but for soldering wires, lead's not going to hurt anybody. This is a rosin core, so there's the solder wire is hollow, and inside there's a liquid that is going to help clean that copper surface there so that we can make our connections. So soldering can be risky. I mean, you can solder wires for years and years and never have any spattering, but you really don't want to have a little droplet of molten lead landing in your eye. So safety glasses are a great idea. The thing about success with soldering is that everything involved needs to be clean and free of oxidization. So I'm going to start with my soldering gun. I'm going to click it, turn it on. I'm going to let it get hot, and then I'm going to clean the tip. The tip is all really I'm concerned about right now, but I just don't want to introduce any dirt onto the solder joint. So that's clean. The surface is clean and ready to go. And I want to do the same thing with the solder. There's oxidization on the outside, so I'm just going to use a piece of sandpaper here to clean that off. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to clean the wire too. This step isn't strictly necessary because the wire is usually quite free of any problems or any contamination, but just want to do everything I can to make this work properly. Now, when it comes time to solder, you need to heat the wires so that they're hot, because the idea with soldering is that the molten lead and tin is actually going to enter into the pores of the copper, making it the wire. So electrically speaking, it becomes one thing. So I'm putting a little bit of the solder on the soldering gun. Now that wire is not hot enough yet. It's not flowing properly, so I'm just going to leave it on there for a while, and you can start to see the solder changes color, gets shiny, and it seems to kind of melt into the wire. So that is now a solid and sound soldered connection. It's not going to go anywhere. Before I move on to the next kind of soldered connection, I just want you to take a close look here. You can see that the solder has penetrated all the little strands of copper there. There's no bulbs of hardened solder that kind of sit up on the surface. This is a good solder joint as compared with what they call a cold solder joint. That's one that wasn't heated enough to allow the lead and tin to actually meld in into the pores of the copper. So that's what this looks like. This is extremely strong. This is every bit as strong as if it was continuous. And I guess more importantly, for reliability, you will never have corrosion setting into that connection, causing it to the continuity to be lost. So it's not only strong, but it's reliable over time. Now, from time to time, you might have need to solder some very large conductors like this. And if you were tempted to use a soldering iron like this, you'd be disappointed because you'd never be able to get a solid solder joint on conductors this large with a soldering gun like this. The temperature's high enough, but the volume of heat that it puts out is not sufficient. So in a sense, the conductors would be sucking up all the heat from the soldering gun, and it would never really get hot enough to have a proper solder connection. So we're still going to use solder, but you sometimes need more heat for something like this with the big conductors. So just a torch is a great thing. It doesn't need to be nothing like that. Just a gentle heat is plenty for this sort of thing. And you want to stay away from the insulation as much as possible. So let conduction do the work for you. You can heat that conductor, and then let's see if the copper is going to get hot enough to melt for us. Something's starting to happen there. Give it a little bit more heat. See how it's flowing in there? That's what you want to see. There you have it. You let it cool, put on whatever insulation is going to go on the outside, and you've got a really good connection that you can bet your life on.